I am not too deep into Roblox drama. I did, however, react to the Parlo video. Well, let's see. I'm disappointed in Parlo by Gwamgo. Again, these names. We'll see what happened. We'll see what happened once again. Let's see.
Before I begin this video, I want to clarify that this isn't just a commentary video or some kind of news coverage. This is coming from someone who's been close friends with Parlo for nearly 3 years, and after everything that surfaced a couple nights ago, I've made the decision to completely cut ties with him for good, and in this video I intend to explain why. Before I get into everything, please like this video, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on this whole situation, because I genuinely am wondering what—
Again, I have no idea where this is going. I've read some things, some crazy stuff. At least I did a quick Twitter check, but that was it. I'm not into the Roblox controversies. I sent the slime flying. I am offended. Why are you sending my brethren and sisters flying?
people have to say about this, especially if you were a fan of Parlo's. I want to start off this video by explaining what happened.
I don't get the hype feature. I don't get it. I've never clicked on it. Never used it. I don't get it.
And what led to all of this happening. On November 9th, 2 Google documents dropped, one from Parlo and one from someone known as Internet Adjacent or Wolfgang. Both went into disturbing detail about their relationship and what supposedly happened between them in person.
What? You still want to try topping? What the fuck? Why am I seeing, why exactly am I seeing private Discord messages of people, like, why am I seeing sex chats? Pause.
And what supposedly happened between them in person. Originally, Parlo wanted me to make a video defending him to help, quote-unquote, tell his side. But after reading through everything myself, I just can't. What's in those documents completely changed how I see him, and after knowing him for almost 3 years, I couldn't be more disgusted with his decision to make all of this public. Before any of this blew up as it did, I started a major argument with Parlo about it. I told him to keep it private and to take down the documents immediately, because this would not end well for him. At that point, I didn't even realize how bad the document really was. I just knew—
Interesting, so we got Google Docies.
Knew that turning a situation this serious into public drama was the worst move he could have made, especially as it was a personal situation and a private situation. Instead of actually listening to me, he snapped at me, called me and said he was the biggest victim.
I mess up, but you are the retard. Great.
Out of everyone more than Schlepp, Ruben, or even me. That's when I realized he didn't care about accountability. He wanted control. Up until then, I'd still been trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, but the arrogance and lack of empathy he showed in that argument told me everything I needed to know. And when that document fully came out and when I actually took a look at it,
Wolfgang Internet Adjacent situation. This document covers allegations, topics pertaining to sexual what? Prostitution? Zoo? Coercion, unwanted contact, ideation, baiting, emotional manipulation, image leaking, privacy invasion, transmitted diseases? What the actual fuck is going on? What the heck? Huh? The fuck? The one that's actually the word is like animals? Animals.
Understood why he was so defensive, because it wasn't just a statement. It was a 75-page dump of
anyways,
content where Parlo wanted to—
Oh, just 75? I thought we were getting thousands.
Level details about his life. Reading that was disgusting, not just because of what he wrote, but because he knew exactly who his audience was. Mostly minors, and he still posted it anyways. That's when I knew that I couldn't defend him anymore. That's why I'm making this video. The first thing I want to talk about is the GoFundMe that Parlo made. The screenshots you're seeing on screen right now are from Wolfgang's document, and they show something completely unbelievable. Around late September, Parlo launched a GoFundMe claiming he needed money for legal fees, food, and rent. He told me the same thing privately, which is why he asked me to promote it in my video about his disappearance. He said he was facing possible litigation and still dealing with this temporary arrest during the dupe situation, and I believed him. I'd been helping him behind the scenes for months, compiling evidence.
He set up a fake GoFundMe and used the money for something else. Okay. Possibly. Allegedly.
organizing files, and doing work for free to save him legal costs. But just a week later, he used that same money to fund a trip to London, a trip that was
Okay, well, I stand not corrected, but I definitely stand being correct.
explicitly in nature. Evidence shows Parlo sent over $1,400 to Wolfgang, with $1,100 being for the plane ticket and the other $300 being for the passport and other fees. All this was happening while Parlo was still collecting donations from fans who thought they were helping him pay rent or legal bills. When people started calling him out, Parlo claimed that the GoFundMe money came in after the trip, as if that made it okay. But that's not how it works. Once you start asking people for donations, all your finances matter. You can't claim to be broke and begging for help while
Yeah, you can't, like, it doesn't matter, it doesn't change anything, right? If you claim to be broke, but then you can pay for a flight, that is, like, you're not broke in this case. You're not broke in this case, and you don't need to ask for donations. First issue.
also blowing your own money on luxury trips and hookups. It's the same pool of money, and how you prioritize it says everything. What makes this even worse is that he hadn't paid his editors in almost 5 months and was still asking
£1,000 for groceries, but couldn't pay me. Damn editors. I feel like it's not like Parlo makes highly difficult videos. I feel like he doesn't kind of need an editor from what I've seen.
friends like me to handle his work for free. Meanwhile, he bought a new gaming laptop worth around $2,100, or about 1,600 sterling as he said, and a brand new phone which is probably around $500 to $800. Normally, that wouldn't be a problem, but when you're begging strangers for money to stay afloat, that's not a good look. I even offered to help him make money again by letting him upload on my channel while his was still locked. But instead of being responsible, he spent thousands on technology and his trip. We even finished a few videos together that I've now completely cancelled because there's no way I can in good faith feature him on my channel after all of this. And just to update, after a lot of arguing, Parlo finally admitted that the GoFundMe situation was bad and supposedly planned to refund donors. But that doesn't change the fact
That'd be like, I'm gonna be real, that's enough reason to nuke his career completely. Like, that's easily enough reason. Well, I don't want to hide it. I couldn't hire an editor. First of all, I don't have the money for an editor. Also, I'm a really small channel. And also, like, I'm not doing anything that, like, would require a skilled editor.
that he only realized it after a massive argument and a public meltdown. He even started a fight on Twitter with Tanuki Alex, calling the whole situation a nothing burger when she was completely right to call him out. Now, before getting into the rest of the document itself, I need to explain how I first heard about all of this, because what Parlo told me back then and what I know now are two completely different stories. About a month ago, Parlo messaged me privately claiming he'd been by Wolfgang, that he'd been during their meetup. He told me
What the fuck? What's happening here? The fuck?
Wolfgang had snuck into the shower with him, scrubbed his back, and that things got freaky without his consent. I didn't judge him for being gay or anything like that, I just took it at face value, and he made it sound like a serious. But after reading the actual
Yeah, that's kinda... When you have no context, that does sound like it, but yeah, from all the Discord messages I have seen, for now, up until now, they have been on freaky time, for sure.
DMs and screenshots Parlo himself included in his document, that version completely fell apart. The messages show Parlo openly flirting and initiating things long before the meetup, saying things like, "I do want my tucked, I cannot lie," and "I might be a little but you have to be delicate."
Who fucking talks like that? I just rope max at that point. Who fucking talks like that? Then again, I'm not really a flirtatious person.
These aren't messages from someone being they're from someone who's fully aware and willing. Parlo's own writing describes Wolfgang entering the bathroom and the shower while he looked away uncomfortably.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Actually, I wouldn't say that. See, when you text is a different thing, but once you're in that situation, see, like, you can be, like, all lovey-dovey with, for example, a woman can be all lovey-dovey with her husband, right? Flirty, sexual, right? And then, like, at one day, she doesn't really want it, right? She doesn't want to have intimacy, and the husband forces himself on her. That's still rape and assault. I don't know. I need more than text messages to disprove this, right? You can be flirty in text messages and then IRL, right? You're not in the mood, you don't want to, and then somebody forces yourself onto you. I don't feel like this is a super strong point. Okay, so I don't know. Yes, the text messages are like that, but it doesn't really mean anything. Otherwise, people could just say, yeah, you can't be, I don't know, raped when you're married. Like that'd be weird. Or like in a relationship. That'd be weird. I need more. I need more. I need more confirmation. I need confirmation that it's outright stated that this didn't happen, because screenshots don't really do anything for me.
But nowhere does he say he told Wolfgang no. And later on Dicker's livestream, he even admitted that there was never any clear communication of him saying no. Looking at it now, it's obvious that this wasn't some one-sided. It was mutual, messy, and embarrassing, not criminal. Carlo only started calling it afterwards, seemingly because it didn't go how he wanted or because Wolfgang wasn't what he expected. But what really pushed it over the edge was that both of them decided to make this private situation public. Parlo's 70.
Yeah, that's a big thing. See, this one is a bit iffy because nobody was there, right? There's no bathroom video, bathroom pictures, right? This one's iffy. Told you there's some gay stuff. That doesn't really matter. Here's the thing. Yes, the thing is this. I wouldn't go off the text messages because those technically don't mean anything, right? I wouldn't go off of those. Him saying not a clear indicator saying no. The problem is always that consent. That's the problem. I wouldn't call this grape, it's hard. It's a difficult, hard legal situation. I feel like this should go to a lawyer, and I hope it does go to a lawyer. I think this should go to court, and the court decides what it was. Because not saying no is not a yes, but also not saying yes is not a no. Again, we weren't there, so it's hard to say. I wouldn't judge too much on the situation. This is for the courts. Easily.
5-page document goes into level detail, writing about and objects used during.
Why is this even public? Why is this public? I don't care about people's sex lives. I think nobody cares about people's sex lives. Why is this public? Oh my god. What the fuck? Why is this public?
Even including censored photos of them. He literally talks about using a purple glitter toy he nicknamed Cinderella and describes in detail what he did with it, such as putting
Stop! Why is this public?
it in his no-no square. He added captions about objects, all.
Why is this? I'm not reading those, by the way. I cannot be bothered reading those. If Gwamgo read those, brother, my love goes out to you. You are stronger than most men, but I'm not reading all that. I'm not reading all that. You got me confused, but yeah. It's basically this all, right? The money situation is separate, right? He basically used money. He basically did a GoFundMe and didn't use the money for the purpose which was rent, food, etc., right? The initials, right? The initial things, right? Then comes, like, the situation where Paolo says that he was assaulted and raped, which is an iffy situation because we weren't there, and Discord messages don't technically prove anything. That being said, while no was essentially given, he didn't say no. He also didn't say yes. And I feel like that's really important as well. And now it's like a Google Doc on, like, those two sex life. This is a video on an odd Roblox creator and his sex life. That's pretty much what it is. That's pretty much what it is. It can happen in married couples. I'm sure in real cases they both know it was great without a doubt. All about consent. It's not about I'm not feeling right now, doing it right now. It's about get away from me. Yeah. Well, if somebody's saying I don't want to do it, right? That's a clear indication that you should not force yourself on them, right? That makes sense. So I don't know, the grape situation is iffy. This is definitely for the courts. This shouldn't be on Twitter.
Labeled as evidence. This document wasn't made for authorities, by the way. Parla made this in order to release it to the public. Within 48 hours, that document had 80,000 views from just one tweet. Parla even included a personal note like, "I don't think I've off in like 4 or 5 days," which is just insane to include.
Why would you post? Nobody would post this. You would need... If I had the same sex life as him, I don't. But if I had, you would need to put me at gunpoint to post this. Why did you post this? Why the fuck did you post this?
In a document you're sharing with an audience of mostly minors. Just to be clear here, Wolfgang is not innocent, but Parla's choice to release something this personal to the public is beyond a...
This is beyond, like, yeah, I agree. Why would you release this? I don't care. I think that the minors don't care about your relationship that deeply.
Responsible. You labeled it as transparency, but it is not at all. It's self-exposing, degenerate, and completely disconnected from reality. This should have stayed private, never made public. Before I get to the argument that I had with Parla, there's something in his document that also seriously needs to be addressed because it shows how hypocritical he really is. On page 19, Parla brings up a situation involving Yixalo, also known as Avalon, same person, just a different username, and he wrote that Yixalo was probably known to have been 17 turning 18 on September 30th, 2025, and that Wolfgang knew this. Parla even included his exact birthday, and claims that just 2 days after Yixalo turned 18, Wolfgang started sending unsolicited and getting in DMs, supposedly making him feel pressured to respond. The part that makes this so bizarre is that Parla was right there. He admits it all happened in a small group chat that included him, Wolfgang, Avalon, and 3 other accounts he conveniently censored.
That is oddly weird. First thing. The second thing, this is like just standing in front of an accident, be like filming, and then later like saying, it all happened here. Like, it would be like, no, actually, correction. It would be more like watching somebody like a murder and then saying like, yeah, I was there, but I didn't help. I saw it all. He did it. And like you're just standing next to them and like watching. What do you mean? What is this? What is this? What is this document?
In the screenshots. So Parla knew exactly what was going on and could have spoken up or stepped in, but he didn't. He even admits that Wolfgang created another chat named Oktoberfest that was literally meant to plan a 3-way between them. And in that chat,
bro, dude, Roblox, yeah, Roblox, sure, buddy, Roblox. This is Roblox creators, boys. This is happening in the Roblox community.
Wolfgang sent furry art and photos of himself dressed as a femboy, even full just 8 days after Avalon turned 18.
That's so... and unsolicited too. Like, if it was consensual, fine. Sure, I guess. Okay, sure. But unsolicited? What are we doing?
So if Parla really thought that this was wrong, why didn't he say anything back then? Why didn't he leave, report it, or confront Wolfgang? Why wait to include it in a 75-page document like it suddenly mattered when it could be used to make him look better? He even tries to frame it as calling Wolfgang out, but all it really shows is that he sat there, watched everything happen. Didn't it?
Because he wanted it too. Probably. Allegedly. Possibly. There is something to be addressed here, and that this isn't a unique case among gay men. This isn't a unique case, unfortunately. I've heard from plenty of bisexual men that they had really bad experiences with gay men when it comes to that stuff, like forcefully. I don't know how true those are. We need to look at statistics, so I'm not gonna judge on that. But just something that I've heard.
Intervene, didn't care, not until it became useful to him. Honestly, reading this section felt like watching a twisted back and forth between 2 people who did really horrible.
Sounds like a dark it's not a crime. It's not abusive. It's dark romance.
Things like Jeffrey Epstein versus Diddy. After seeing that, I confronted Parlo privately and I asked him why he hadn't said anything, why he thought making it public afterwards was somehow the right move, and that's when our argument started. Now about the argument I had with Parlo, I just wanted to understand what the hell he was thinking. From the very start, it was obvious that this whole thing should have stayed private. I couldn't wrap my head around why he thought—
Where's the zoo stuff though? Or is that the furry stuff? But furry isn't zoo. What? Okay. So we can cut out this, I feel like, except there's still something coming up. Yeah, images and stuff. I haven't seen that stuff. We haven't seen that. So all of these are pretty true. Except for this one yet, I have to see something, and this one.
It was a good idea to drop a document like that publicly, especially one filled with that type of information. I first found out about everything through Twitter when both his and Wolfgang's documents dropped. I happened to be on call with one of my editors, planning another video for the next day, but once this blew—
I'm gonna summarize, by the way, I'm gonna summarize both of these docs. This is just two weird degenerates having a falling out. This is summarized in two weirdo degenerate freaks having a falling out. That's it. That's literally it. That's literally it.
Up, we decided to go through it together. Parlo was in the group chat for my editor since he was supposed to help me out with my channel for a couple of months while his own was locked due to the police taking his devices, and out of nowhere, he joined the call and told me he needed me to make a video defending him. At that point, I still thought it was just people lying about him, but as soon as I started reading, Parlo told me not to bother with Wolfgang's document and to just read mine. I told him straight up that, based off of Wolfgang's document, the GoFundMe part looked really bad because it actually made sense, and I didn't even know he had done something like that. Instead of explaining anything, he snapped at me, called me a moron, a little bit less friendly, but it started with an R, and told me to shut up and to get to his part, meaning
he called him a retard.
His document. Now, I ended up continuing to read Wolfgang's document and Parlo ended up leaving the call because he was going to go speak on another streamer's live stream to give quote-unquote his side of the story. He ended up joining the call back later, but we'll get to that in a moment. Now, once I actually got to Parlo's document, everything completely fell apart because it wasn't a defense, it was a 75-page graphic content that did not belong online. I told him exactly that when he joined the call back later, that it was disgusting, irresponsible, and would destroy his reputation. I also warned him that this kind of behavior doesn't just hurt him, it hurts—
It's also like, why do you sit down and write a document? Let's put aside minors, right? Let's put aside that minors mostly follow him, right? Let's put aside that, right? Let's put it aside for a second. Why would you explicitly write a Google document about your intimate life explicitly with screenshots? Why would you do that? Like, how do you come to the conclusion that this would exonerate you? How do you come to the conclusion that this wouldn't harm your reputation? What you essentially did was you released a piece of writing that might as well be a gay corn star's manifesto. What are we doing? And the attention that is not— yeah, sorry, that is not attention. That is a career-ending Google Doc. That is not missing attention. This is a career-ending Google document. This is like sitting on a bomb. This is like jumping off a building, swan dive. That's what that doesn't give you— that's not attention seeking. That is career-ending. That document is career-ending. His own document that is supposed to defend him is career-ending. It's called poison the wall move. That's not poisoning the wall. That's just like you just exploded the wall. You just took TNT and blew up the entire mountain. What are we doing? That is like— there is no way to rationalize him posting this.
Everyone connected to him. I told him verbatim, dude, you understand this is going to start affecting everyone who's associated to you, right? Because that's exactly what's been happening. Even while talking in live streams about the situation, because there's been 2 or 3 streams about the situation, people were already trying to drag me into it, saying that I knew everything or had all the archives, which is complete— I found out the exact same way everyone else did. Now, at about an hour throughout reading this document, Parlo ended up joining the call back again because the first stream ended, and we told Parlo exactly how we felt, we being me and a video editor of mine who is going to testify to the details that I'm about to explain. Once Dial and I explained to Parlo what we thought—
Like, bro, he sat down, okay? He sat down and wrote this. He sat down and wrote this.
about this document of his, Parlo completely lost it. He started calling us stupid, slow, and said that nobody would understand what he was going through. I told him straight up that nobody's going to take you seriously once this gets out. He kept spiraling, saying that he was the biggest victim, worse off than Ruben, Schlepp, or even me, and it was just a full-on meltdown. Dial, my editor, was there for it all. Parlo rage quit the call, and that's when it hit me. He'd completely lost control. Now on screen, you're going to see Dial's testimony as to what happened. If you have any questions, I'm sure he'll be more than happy to answer any questions. Now, later on that night, he went live again on another live stream on Dicker's live stream. This time, this live stream is still up. You guys can go check it out. And somehow, that live stream made everything worse. He doubled down, reading—
Yeah, no shit, it made everything worse. Yeah, no shit. Of course it made everything worse. Bro, he should have just taken down the dock at this point. If it's still up, bro, you cannot keep. Bro, why do you post this? Nobody, like, this is like Project Melody posting a Google Doc about her sex life. This is on the same level. If she did that, it would be as degenerate. She wouldn't do that either. Why would anybody else do it? Holy shit, dude.
his entire document on stream, every detail, including the Cinderella part, like it was normal. Then, when people
Okay, now, sorry, now I have to read it. Control the packet, he has the control of the situation. Open this, however, showing that Sanal X. Making multiple excuses. Oh, I really didn't. Oh, going upstairs and oh my god. He appeared rather dissatisfied, to which he then told me to use the purple Cinderella. Which, never mind, I should have not read this.
detail, including the Cinderella part, like it was normal. Then, when people brought up the GoFundMe again, he fell apart because there's no way to justify using over $1,000 to fly someone out for gay. That was the breaking point. I knew I had to cut him off. After everything, the document, the live stream, the arguing, the gaslighting, I made my final decision and
Did Project Mel do that? No, but it would look like something like this. It would look like something like this without the gay part, but it would look, if Mel did that, it'd look exactly like this. Probably, at least as degenerate. Like, you can't just like post this on the, you can't just post this on the internet. I wouldn't even, you shouldn't even post this to adults, let alone kids. You couldn't post this. What wrote you to post this? What demon possessed you to post this? Let alone write it.
permanently cut Parlo off. I've known Parlo for almost 3 years, and he's not the same person from back then. Back then, he cared about his content and had some integrity. Now, he refuses to take accountability, lashes out at anyone who questions him, and burns every bridge he crosses. I've given him more chances than he ever deserved, even back in 2023 when he ran a massive slander campaign against me, spreading fake claims saying that I streamed illegal content, which has been proven false numerous times. I still forgave him. I thought he could change, but this was the final line. I offered him work, tried to help him get back on his feet, defended him when no one else would, and this is how he repaid that, by dragging me into one of the most disgusting and reckless situations I've ever seen. When you post a 75-page document full of content and then attack the people who tried to help you, that's not poor judgment, that's self-destruction. I'm not saying this out of anger, I'm saying this because it's the truth.
This guy is special. Bro, so basically this entire situation is just two degenerates posting docs on each other, and it's just the degenerate manifesto of a gay man. Wow.
I cared about him as a friend, but what he's done is beyond repair. It's immature, irresponsible, and dangerous, especially when most of his fan base are minors. I just want to add on because I just had another conversation an hour after recording this video, and one of the things that Parlo said in that conversation was that he believes he is mentally incapable of making decisions for himself. And What this is showing me is that he needs to get away from the internet. He is not in a position where he's not supposed to have a platform. He needs to get off the internet completely and indefinitely. Before I end off the video, I do want to add another thing or two. If there will be any updates to this situation, I'm either going to be posting on community posts here, or I'll be saying something on Twitter. On screen right now is my brand new Twitter account. You guys can go follow it. It's going to be in the pinned comment. But thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys watching until the end, and
Simplified, two gay dudes had a falling out, and one of them wrote the most diabolical Google document in Google document history. A Google document that is so depraved and degenerate that it might be put into the Hall of Fame of worst Google documents possible. Holy shit, this is going on in Roblox community. Wow. Okay. Anyways, that was horrible. I feel like that should have not been posted ever at all, and I hope that... Yeah, I think bro needs time off the internet and probably time away from other people as well. That's horrible. Anyways, like, comment, and subscribe.